Welcome, my friends, to another deep dive into the future, where technology, innovation, and investment collide. Today, we're taking to the skies, exploring a company that wants to redefine urban transportation as we know it. Imagine skipping traffic jams, soaring over city streets in a quiet, electric aircraft, arriving at your destination in minutes instead of hours. That is the bold vision of Eve Air mobility, and in this episode, we're breaking it all down. Its strengths, weaknesses, the massive opportunities ahead, and the looming threats that could ground its ambitions before it ever takes off. If you're an investor looking for the next big thing, a tech enthusiast fascinated by the future of flight, or just someone who loves exploring cutting-edge ideas, this is an episode you don't want to miss. And while you're here, why not take a moment to subscribe? It's free, it helps the channel grow, and it ensures you never miss out on the latest insights into the companies shaping our world. Plus, every new subscriber brings us one step closer to unlocking even more in-depth content. So buckle up, because we're about to take off into the world of Eve Air mobility. Let's dive in. Imagine the skies above bustling cities, once crowded with traffic jams and honking cars, now transformed into highways in the air, seamlessly moving people from one place to another without the grind of gridlock. This is the vision of Eve Air Mobility, a company that is not just dreaming of the future, but actively building it. At its core, Eve is an aerospace company with a mission to make electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, known as eVTOLs, a practical reality for urban transportation. These vehicles are not science fiction. They are the next evolution in mobility, designed to take off and land like a helicopter while cruising like a small airplane. Unlike traditional aircraft, which rely on fuel-powered engines that emit pollutants, Eve's eVTOLs are fully electric, promising a cleaner, quieter, and more efficient mode of transportation. What makes this company remarkable is its deep connection to Embraer, a major player in the global aviation industry. Embraer is not some startup scrambling to figure out aerodynamics. It is one of the largest aircraft manufacturers in the world, known for designing and producing reliable cutting-edge jets. Eve was born from this legacy, inheriting decades of expertise in aircraft design, safety, and manufacturing. This gives the company an edge that few in the emerging eVTOL industry can match. While others must build their technology from the ground up, Eve benefits from proven engineering knowledge, experienced teams, and an established supply chain. This is not just about building a flying machine. A successful air mobility company must ensure its vehicles integrate seamlessly into city infrastructure, function within air traffic systems, and comply with rigorous aviation regulations. Eve understands this and is not merely designing an aircraft, it is building a full ecosystem. This includes software to manage air traffic in crowded urban skies, maintenance systems to keep fleets running safely, and operational strategies that allow airlines, ride-sharing services, and transportation providers to use its technology with ease. The design of Eve's eVTOL is a testament to practicality and innovation. Instead of overcomplicating the aircraft with futuristic concepts that may never pass regulatory approval, the company has opted for a simpler, more realistic approach. Their aircraft features multiple smaller rotors for takeoff and landing, much like a drone, along with a fixed wing and a rear propeller for cruising efficiently. This combination provides stability, safety, and efficiency. It is an approach that regulators are more likely to approve because it builds on known aeronautical principles rather than completely reinventing them. Another advantage of Eve is its scalability. Many aviation startups struggle because they need to build everything themselves. From research and development to production and distribution, Eve, on the other hand, is structured to leverage Embraer's existing facilities, expertise, and manufacturing processes. This allows it to produce aircraft at a larger scale with a level of quality control that newer companies may find difficult to achieve. One of the most important strengths of Eve's aircraft is its quiet operation. Noise pollution has long been a problem in urban environments, particularly with helicopters, which have large, loud, and intrusive rotor blades. Eve's eVTOL is designed to be much quieter, reducing both noise impact on city residents and making it more suitable for widespread adoption. A quiet aircraft means less community resistance, making it easier for regulators and city officials to approve their integration into everyday transportation. Safety is another crucial factor. In aviation, every aspect of an aircraft's design must be rigorously tested to ensure reliability. Eve is following the same stringent certification path as traditional commercial airplanes, meaning its vehicles must meet high safety standards before they ever carry passengers. By working closely with aviation regulators, the company is positioning itself as a leader in safe, certified eVTOL technology, rather than a risky experimental project. Beyond the technology, Eve has positioned itself well in the marketplace. Unlike some competitors that are trying to create an entire airline from scratch, Eve is focused on selling its aircraft to existing operators. This strategy means it does not have to handle the complexities of running an airline. It simply needs to provide reliable, high-performance aircraft to businesses that are already experts in transportation. In the race to define the future of urban air mobility, the winners will be those who combine cutting-edge technology with practical business strategies. Eve has the advantage of both, backed by a parent company with a long history of success, a design philosophy grounded in realism, and a market strategy that prioritizes partnerships over direct competition. It is not simply aiming to create another flying car concept. It is building a fully integrated transportation network designed for real-world use. Despite its promising vision, Eve Air Mobility faces several significant challenges that could slow its progress or limit its ability to dominate the emerging eVTOL market. While the company benefits from its connection to Embraer, this relationship is a double-edged sword. Unlike a fully independent startup that can pivot quickly and take bold risks, Eve is still partially constrained by the priorities and financial health of its parent company. Embraer must balance Eve's development with its commitments to commercial and defense aviation, meaning Eve may not always receive the level of investment or strategic attention needed to outpace faster-moving competitors. The technology itself, while innovative, is still unproven in commercial use. Designing an eVTOL is one thing, getting it certified for passenger transport is another entirely. The aviation industry has some of the strictest safety regulations in the world, and for good reason. Even small delays in meeting these requirements can set the company back years. Unlike traditional aircraft, which have well-established certification pathways, eVTOLs are in a regulatory gray area. The rules are still being defined, and navigating this uncertain landscape adds a layer of complexity that could delay or even derail the project. The simplicity of Eve's aircraft design is both a strength and a weakness. While it may be easier to certify than more complex models, it may also limit performance compared to competitors. Other companies are developing aircraft with greater speed, longer range, and more passenger capacity, which could make Eve's model less competitive in the long run. If its aircraft cannot match the efficiency or capabilities of rivals, customers may opt for alternatives with greater flexibility. Manufacturing is another potential bottleneck. Although Eve has access to Embraer's production facilities, scaling up eVTOL manufacturing is not as simple as building more traditional airplanes. The supply chain for electric aviation components is still immature, with key parts such as batteries, electric motors, and lightweight composite materials in high demand. Any disruptions in the supply of these critical components could slow down production and increase costs. Battery technology itself presents a major weakness. Current battery systems are heavy, limiting the range and payload capacity of eVTOLs. Unlike fuel-powered aircraft, which can refuel quickly and continue operating, electric aircraft require significant charging time, which reduces their ability to operate continuously throughout the day. If battery advancements do not keep pace with the needs of the industry, Eve's aircraft may struggle to deliver the level of performance necessary for large-scale commercial operations. The market itself is another point of concern. While urban air mobility is an exciting concept, demand is still theoretical. It is unclear whether city governments, infrastructure developers, and everyday consumers will embrace eVTOLs at the scale needed to justify mass production. Many urban areas lack the necessary infrastructure, such as vertiports, dedicated landing zones for eVTOLs. Without widespread infrastructure development, even the most advanced eVTOL will have limited real-world applications. Cost is another challenge. While Eve aims to provide an affordable alternative to helicopters, the initial price of eVTOL flights is expected to be high, limiting accessibility. If these services remain a luxury product for wealthy individuals rather than a mainstream transportation option, growth could be slow, and widespread adoption could take decades. Competition is fierce. Eve is not the only company chasing the dream of urban air mobility. Well-funded rivals, including aerospace giants and technology startups, are investing heavily in similar projects. Some competitors have already flown full-scale prototypes and secured regulatory approvals ahead of Eve. If these rivals move faster or offer a superior product, Eve could find itself playing catch-up in a market where first-mover advantage is critical. Finally, public perception and safety concerns could hinder adoption. Many people are still uneasy about the idea of flying cars, especially in densely populated cities. Any high-profile accident or technical failure, whether from Eve or a competing company, could set back the entire industry and create skepticism that is difficult to overcome. Public trust is a crucial factor, and building that trust will take time. Eve's future is filled with potential, but these weaknesses highlight the many hurdles it must overcome before it can turn its vision into reality. Success will depend not only on technological innovation, but also on how well the company navigates these complex challenges. The future of urban air mobility is not just a fantasy. It is an inevitable transformation of transportation. And Eve Air Mobility stands at the threshold of an industry that could redefine how cities function. The opportunities ahead are vast and fueled by technological advancements, shifting consumer expectations, and the growing demand for cleaner, more efficient modes of travel. One of the most immediate opportunities lies in the growing push for sustainable transportation. Governments around the world are tightening regulations on emissions, pushing for alternatives to traditional fuel-powered vehicles. Cities are investing heavily in electrification, and public funding for green transportation initiatives is on the rise. Eve's fully electric aircraft aligns perfectly with these global priorities, positioning the company as a key player in the transition to emission-free aviation. As environmental concerns become more urgent, demand for sustainable transportation solutions will only increase, giving Eve an edge in securing partnerships, funding, and regulatory support. Beyond environmental benefits, urban congestion is reaching a breaking point. In major metropolitan areas, traffic jams cost billions in lost productivity each year, and traditional infrastructure solutions, such as new roads and expanded public transit, struggle to keep pace with growing populations. Air mobility offers a way to bypass congestion entirely, creating an entirely new layer of urban transportation. Cities that invest in air mobility solutions could see significant reductions in travel time, particularly for high-value routes such as airport transfers, business districts, and intercity commuting corridors. EVE's aircraft could serve as a high-speed alternative for time-sensitive travelers, capturing a lucrative market segment. Partnerships represent another major opportunity. Rather than trying to build an entire transportation network alone, EVE has the potential to integrate seamlessly into existing ecosystems. Ride-sharing giants, major airlines, and logistics companies are all looking for ways to incorporate eVTOL technology into their services. By positioning itself as a supplier rather than a direct operator, EVE can tap into established networks, leveraging the customer bases and operational expertise of major transportation companies. These partnerships could accelerate adoption while reducing the financial burden of building infrastructure from scratch. The rise of autonomous technology also presents an opportunity for long-term scalability. While EVE's initial aircraft will be piloted, the industry is moving toward autonomous flight. As artificial intelligence and automation improve, future versions of EVE's aircraft could eliminate the need for human pilots, dramatically lowering operating costs and increasing efficiency. Autonomous flight would also open up new revenue models, such as on-demand air taxis and self-flying cargo delivery systems, expanding EVE's market potential beyond passenger transport. International expansion offers another promising avenue. While much of the current focus is on urban centers in North America and Europe, the demand for advanced air mobility is global. Emerging economies, particularly in Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America, are rapidly urbanizing, creating massive transportation challenges that eVTOL technology can help solve. Many of these regions lack well-developed public transit systems, making aerial mobility an even more attractive solution. EVE, with its Brazilian roots and Embraer's established presence in international aviation markets, is well positioned to enter these growing economies ahead of competitors. Infrastructure development is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity. Cities will need to build vertiports, dedicated takeoff and landing zones for eVTOLs, to support large-scale adoption. EVE has the opportunity to collaborate with urban planners, real estate developers, and technology providers to shape the future of air mobility infrastructure. Companies that establish themselves as leaders in this process will not only sell aircraft but also help define the rules and regulations that govern the industry. By actively participating in infrastructure planning, EVE could secure long-term contracts and ensure that its aircraft are fully integrated into future urban landscapes. Advancements in battery technology could unlock even greater opportunities. While today's batteries limit the range and flight time of eVTOLs, ongoing research in solid-state batteries and other high-density energy storage solutions promises significant improvements in efficiency. As battery technology evolves, EVE's aircraft could become faster, more capable, and more cost-effective, increasing their appeal to both businesses and consumers. Public perception of eVTOL technology is still evolving, but as people become more comfortable with the idea of urban air mobility, new business models will emerge. In the same way that ride-sharing apps transformed ground transportation, aerial ride-sharing could become a mainstream service. EVE has the opportunity to be at the forefront of this shift, shaping consumer expectations and setting industry standards. For all its promise, EVE Air Mobility faces a storm of challenges that could hinder its success or even ground its ambitions entirely. The path to making urban air mobility a reality is fraught with risks, some foreseeable, others unpredictable. The company operates in a high-stakes environment where competition, regulation, public perception, and technological hurdles all pose serious threats. The most immediate and pressing challenge is regulation. Unlike traditional airplanes, which follow well-established certification pathways, eVTOL aircraft exist in an evolving regulatory landscape. Governments and aviation authorities are still figuring out how to classify, test, and approve these new machines for commercial use. Even a small delay in certification could push EVE's timeline back by years. And if regulations turn out to be more restrictive than anticipated, the entire business model could be thrown into question. A single misstep, whether from EVE or a competitor, could lead to new safety restrictions that slow down the entire industry. Public acceptance is another major unknown. While the idea of flying above traffic may sound appealing, the reality of small aircraft constantly buzzing over cityscapes is something many people may resist. Noise, visual pollution, and safety concerns could lead to backlash from local communities, making it difficult to secure approvals for landing zones and flight corridors. One serious accident, whether involving EVE's aircraft or another eVTOL company, could severely damage public confidence, leading to political pressure that forces stricter regulations or outright bans in certain areas. The financial demands of bringing eVTOL technology to market are immense. While EVE benefits from its relationship with Embraer, it still needs massive amounts of capital to complete development, secure certifications, build manufacturing capacity, and support initial commercial operations. If funding dries up or if investor confidence wavers, the company could struggle to stay on course. Many ambitious aviation startups have failed not because they lacked technology, but because they ran out of money before they could scale. The timeline for profitability in this industry is long, and if EVE cannot sustain itself financially during the early years, it risks being overtaken by more well-funded competitors. Competition is another serious threat. EVE is not alone in the race to develop and commercialize eVTOLs. Established aerospace giants, including Boeing and Airbus, as well as well-funded startups like Joby Aviation, Archer Aviation, and Lilium, are all pushing hard to capture market share. Some competitors have already achieved significant milestones, including full-scale prototype flights, regulatory approvals, and strategic partnerships with major airlines and ride-sharing platforms. If these companies move faster or deliver a superior product, EVE could find itself struggling to keep up in an industry where being first to market can be a decisive advantage. The limitations of current battery technology present yet another obstacle. eVTOL aircraft require lightweight weight, high-energy density batteries to function efficiently. But battery advancements have not yet reached the point where they can match the energy output of traditional fuel-powered engines. Limited flight range, long charging times, and the weight of batteries all restrict the potential use cases for eVTOLs. If battery technology does not improve fast enough, EVE's aircraft could end up with performance limitations that make them less viable for widespread commercial use. Infrastructure is a major bottleneck. While eVTOLs promise to transform urban mobility, they require a completely new set of infrastructure, including vertiports for takeoff and landing, charging stations, and air traffic management systems. Cities are not built to accommodate fleets of electric aircraft, and integrating them into existing urban landscapes will take time, money, and political support. If infrastructure development lags behind aircraft production, there may not be enough places for EVE's aircraft to operate, severely limiting the potential market. Economic conditions could also play a role in determining EVE's fate. The air mobility market is highly sensitive to economic downturns. If a recession hits, companies and consumers may be less willing to invest in expensive new transportation options. eVTOL services are expected to start as a premium product before scaling to the mass market. And if disposable income shrinks, demand for these services could remain low for longer than anticipated. Geopolitical risks must also be considered. Eve operates in a global market, and international conflicts, trade restrictions, or supply chain disruptions could impact its ability to source materials, manufacture aircraft, and expand into key regions. Political instability or shifting government policies in major markets could directly affect the company's growth trajectory. Even if all of these challenges are overcome, operational safety and maintenance remain critical threats. Unlike traditional aircraft, which operate from controlled environments like airports, eVTOLs will be flying in complex urban landscapes where risks include drone interference, bird strikes, unpredictable weather conditions, and potential cyber threats to autonomous flight systems. A strong safety record is essential, and any major technical failures or crashes could set the industry back significantly. The dream of urban air mobility is no longer confined to the pages of science fiction. It is a fast-approaching reality. Eve Air Mobility stands at the heart of this transformation, backed by the deep aerospace expertise of Embraer, a practical and scalable aircraft design, and a vision that aligns with the growing global demand for sustainable transportation. The company's strengths are undeniable: a clear technological advantage, an approach grounded in regulatory feasibility, and a strategy that leverages partnerships rather than trying to build an entire transportation network from scratch. It is not just designing an aircraft, it is engineering an entire ecosystem that could redefine how cities move. But even the most promising technology faces hurdles, and Eve is no exception. From the challenge of regulatory approval to the constraints of current battery technology, the company must navigate a complex landscape where delays, competition, and economic shifts could threaten its progress. The market is still unproven, the infrastructure is not yet in place, and public acceptance remains an open question. In an industry where safety, reliability, and public trust are paramount, Eve must prove not only that its technology works, but that it can be seamlessly integrated into the fabric of daily life. Yet, where there are risks, there are also extraordinary opportunities. The push for greener, more efficient transportation is creating a perfect storm of demand, and Eve has the potential to be a dominant force in shaping the urban air mobility industry. If it can execute its vision, secure regulatory approvals, and scale production effectively, it could emerge as a key player in an entirely new sector of aviation. The sky is calling. The question is not whether urban air mobility will become a reality, but who will lead the way. Eve Air Mobility has the resources, the expertise, and the ambition to take flight. But only time will tell if it can navigate the turbulence ahead and soar to new heights. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of our journey through the world of Eve Air Mobility. From the promise of cleaner, faster, more efficient urban transportation to the challenges of regulation, competition, and technology, we've explored the highs and the hurdles of this ambitious company. The skies may be the next frontier for mobility, but the question remains, will Eve be the one to lead the charge, or will turbulence along the way keep it grounded? Time will tell, and we'll be watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps the channel grow, and it ensures you never miss the latest insights on the companies shaping our future. And hey, if you liked what you heard, a like and a comment go a long way in keeping these discussions alive. Until next time, stay curious, stay sharp, and keep your eyes on the horizon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.